welcome back to Portland.
Thanks for having us.
Looking good, sounding good. Now the new album is out. It's called the fourth album, right? Do I have that right? The new studio album? Yeah, the fourth album.
Indeed.
Dropped in September. And on this one, you guys went back to your roots, I would say. Explain a little bit about the writing process and the recording process. Somebody told me you actually recorded, I don't know if this is true, in one of your living rooms?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
You can do that? I didn't know that was a thing.
Modern technology. Why go to a studio and spend tens of thousands of dollars? We've done that. And I don't know, there's something about being at home. You're relaxed.
Yeah.
You set up the mics and work on the songs and, you know, get your soul out there. And there's the pressures and the clock aren't running in the same way. And it's worked for us.
So you produced this album. It's self-produced, I guess. Wow,
Yeah.
that's impressive. The album's fantastic. The album's doing really well. Is it true that the drum set that was used on this album, first of all, was a garage sale find? Is that true?
It is.
You spent like $100 on it or something?
Alex did, yeah. Alex bought
And
it.
is it also true that it may or may not have been belonged at one point to Stevie Ray Vaughan's drummer?
Okay, so
Or is that urban legend?
there was a piece of masking tape on it that said belonged to Stevie Ray's drummer.
Well, that's good enough for me.
So we went with that for a while, and then we played at a festival, which I forget where it was offhand, Northern California or something.
Santa Cruz area
Santa
or
Cruz.
something.
We get picked up at the airport by the festival shuttle, and they're like, we have one other pickup to make, and it was Stevie Ray Vaughan's drummer.
What are the chances?
So
Chris.
we frantically looked for a picture, and we showed him, and he went, I don't know.
Well, I hope you left the masking tape on it.
It fell off, but it was on there so long, it's kind of like
Falling
emblanced
apart.
in the it's a
Yeah,
real
the
piece of film.
writing of it actually ate through the masking tape is now part of the drum.
If it wasn't his drum set, who would have written that on there? It's such a random
It's a good question.
thing to put on there.
Yeah,
Still
I think the
still a
actual
mystery.
quote, Mark, was, and Alex, you saw it more than anybody, wasn't it? Once played by Stevie Ray Vaughan's drummer or something?
Yeah, so played by Stevie Ray Vaughan, drummer.
I like that.
So it's still a mystery.
That's my goal, is someday to have a piece of masking tape on a guitar I touch one time with my name on it.
Once played by. So blues music is a big part of your sound. Who started listening to blues the earliest? I read that one of you started listening to like Muddy Waters when
I
you were
think
like
it was probably me.
like
Yeah,
eighth or ninth grade, something like that.
Younger than that, I
Younger.
think. Yeah, I was drawn to it early. I was, I grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin, and yes, thank you, fellow Scotty. But yeah, it was just it was we just didn't have the internet or anything like that, so it was like just kind of got what you could through the sources you could, and I just heard his name once, and I said to my ma, I was like, hey, when you go to the store, could you get something by somebody named Muddy Waters? Like somebody had said in some movie, like, oh, Muddy Waters and first electric player or whatever, and which isn't accurate at all, but it was good enough for me, so I got it, and that record happened to be one of his greatest efforts, which was Hard Again, and that I heard the Dobro, which I'm going to play a little later, and that changed everything. I had no idea what it was, and it sunk in deep, and I was just above Chicago, so it kind of resonated,
Were you playing music at that point in your life?
I wanted to. I didn't get my first guitar till almost, till I was getting out of 8th grade, because I just think that there was nothing around. There was no one to teach me. There was, we didn't have any guitars. I think it just finally, by the time I was in that point, Mom and Dad, they like gave in a little bit, and they were like, all right, it seems like he's serious enough about this that, so they helped me get one.
Does it make you angry that kids today have it so much easier than we had when we were growing up?
No.
Oh, it makes me angry.
It doesn't, because I can't go back. But I'm happy that I'm sitting on this stage with my guys who I love. We've been through a lot together. We went through a lot before we met each other, as far as like hanging in there, not giving up, making no money. Doubting whether or not this was a good idea from basically the age of 22 till I met these guys. And it's like, but never quitting. So I don't have any regrets about that, but it would have been nice to actually see a Hendrix lick instead of having to like back the tape up or the
Right,
CD,
yeah.
Instead of figuring that out. But I think there's something to be said about suffering for what you love a little bit, and you earn it a little more. It goes in a little deeper. You know.
Absolutely. Chris, I read a story about you as an interview, really, and I'm gonna read it to get it right. You said this regarding touring: "We are going to tour until the wheels fall off the truck, until the plane runs out of gas, or the van, or the bus." Now, first of all, you don't want the gas to run out of your plane.
Yeah, I don't know
that's
if
a
I,
bad
yeah.
idea. But
If I said that, it must have been early.
but some artists tour, I think, because it's part
Maybe
of the
if it
gig.
ran out on a tarmac.
There you go.
Right
It could have been, yeah. You can float down gently.
Yeah.
Some artists tour because they have to. You guys seem to really enjoy it. How do you maintain the freshness night after night? Because you performed at our Jingle Bell Jam a few years back, and these guys blew the roof off the place. We're at the Roseland, and you were the band that everybody was talking about on Monday and Tuesday and days after that. It was incredible performance. How do you do that night after night?
The spirit is the highest of the three things you could be. You got your mental state, your body state, and your spirit, and the spirit takes over. So I'm a spiritual guy more than a religious guy, but that's the best way I can explain it. I'm definitely always looking for the inspiration through that great thing that runs everything, and when that flows through you. And I think music and art is the most sacred space that we as people can touch that. That's why I think we're so attracted to it, you know. And when it gets through you, you can do things. We've had shows where I'm like, can't talk before, you know, scared out of my mind.
Still,
yeah.
at this
Well,
point in your
just
career.
because, you know, it happens. You run out of gas, no pun intended. But you know, and that's when the spirit kicks in and something happens in you that you can't manifest in any other way. You can't create it at home. You can't like think your way into it. It's just you get in front of people, music starts happening, and there's an elevation. And I think when you're a band like us who waited a long time as guys to feel that, it's all the more palpable, you know.
I'd also throw in I don't know if easy is the right word, but like the last tour we did, it ended in February. It was brutal. It was like a 6-week run. We had hardly any days off. And the last show was Milwaukee, back home for him. And they filmed it, big sold out, beautiful theater, whatever. And we were like Night of the Living Dead that morning, just like, kind of, you know. But then as soon as you're there and you feel 1,000 people in the room, and you just know, like, hey, people have been waiting. They bought tickets. They don't care.
Feels right.
You know, and it's like, and something just happens, and you just go do it. And it's hard to explain sometimes. You know?
Well, it comes through every time I see you guys perform. You've been a great fan, great friends to Kink over the years. We appreciate you.
You guys have been great friends to us.
So good luck on the tour. Break a leg, as they say. Let's hear it one more time for the record company.